Watch this review here with a look at the Thing from the Marvel Legends Wave 11, better known as the Legendary Rider series, but also known as the Hey, Where's My Build-A-Figure series. The Legendary Rider series is probably the worst of the Toy Biz waves. I mean, it's really a tough call because the last two waves were also kind of junky. The dominant theme here was Avengers because we have Scarlet Witch, Wonder Man, and Iron Man, all very prominent members, then Ultron and Taskmaster, prominent villains. However, they just kind of tossed together other guys too. For example, Vengeance and Wolverine here, because they both have bikes. Of course, Ghost Rider came in an earlier series, and then they decided to toss in the first appearance Thing for whatever reason, so very, very mixed. I mean, there's really no huge theme going on, besides, the bad. I mean, the Scarlet Witch and the Thing here are two of the most widely criticized Toy Biz sculpts. I wasn't too impressed by the Wonder Man. From the pictures I've seen of this Wolverine, I don't think I'd ever want him. Vengeance, though, is pretty cool. I still have him in pack. I have to take him out someday, but he just looks awesome. And I have no interest in the Hulkbuster Iron Man, although I do definitely want to pick up Ultron at some point, and Taskmaster looks okay. But enough about that. Let's open this up and take a better look at Thing. I neglected to mention that this is actually the first appearance Thing, which I guess is just as well because he only bears a passing resemblance to his early comic counterpart. In fact, if the included comics to be believed, they didn't even get the pants color right because it's depicted as red here, and then later on it's a color brown. And what color does he have? He has blue hot pants. So yeah, they couldn't even get that right. Face-wise, too, it kind of varied. Some of the panels, the face looked just like from the movie. Other ones kind of resembled this, or other ones it's just like kind of drooping on the sides. So it was kind of like a Marlon Brando look. Actually kind of resembled that right there. So maybe he was moonlighting as a villain. I don't know. Yowza! Hope I didn't give anybody nightmares. First app Thing really had a more monstrous appearance to him. And one aspect where they are pretty faithful to the comics are the uninspired distribution of the stones, scales, or whatever. They really look like scales like this. It's a pattern that sort of radiates out from the center. Although if you actually look at that, you'll notice that Thing's supposed to be like a hell of a lot more blocky. But I guess they didn't go all the way there. However, on the back of the figure, you'll notice they didn't really give him a shoulder blade, so that's pretty faithful to what the original rendition was, where he's really just a more misshapen, boulder kind of creature. In terms of paint, Toy Biz actually opted to use the same type of paint that was used on the Marvel Legends Showdown Thing, which I kind of liked, but it's kind of splotchy. I mean, it's got a varied effect here, even right down to the darkened areas, which I believe were shadowed in the same places on the smaller one, but don't quote me. Although the hot pants here are just a solid color. In terms of goodies, first app Thing comes with a Marvel vs. card, as was the standard back then, a reprint of issue 1 of the Fantastic Four, which is the origin story. Then towards the end they have the appearance of Mole Man. Not to be confused with Hans Mole Man, the Simpsons character. And this bike thingy that they expect you to assemble yourself. I mean, look at this. I mean, every other character this wave comes with an assembled vehicle, but Thing, you have 6 different pieces and 5 steps for it. No wonder why so many people hate this figure. Not to mention that the diagram shows numbers next to these pieces, yet there are no numbers on the pieces themselves. I mean, how am I supposed to figure out the left one from the right one from just this picture alone? And you'd think that the back of the box would be a help, but they don't even have the handles attached in the picture! Okay, so I finally have this assembled. Only real problem is this doesn't fit in on this side, and then when you try to fit this in this side, it doesn't go in all the way. Toy Biz! But yeah, as far as weird looking accessory things go, It's kind of cool looking. It's just a pain to assemble. That doesn't fit in all the way. Why don't you go? There it goes. Alright, so relatively painless. And here we have the Thing riding his tricycle. Would you like to play a game? As you'll probably notice, these little pegs are meant to go into the peg holes near the heel of his feet, of each foot. However, even if they did fit in, it just would look kind of weird, because, I mean, who would ride around with that? That looks kind of painful. But I guess he's made of rock, so you probably wouldn't notice it. First app Thing is about 6.5 inches tall, which I guess is on par with his actual height. He boasts 32 points of articulation. Here he is standing next to first appearance Spider-Man, kind of fitting. In terms of articulation, he has individually articulated fingers. However, they're curled up, which means he can make an okay-ish fist, but I mean, it kind of looks so-so when they're all the way open. Also, they're not as much open on the left hand as they are on the right. But I mean, I guess it's good for grappling poses. There's no point of articulation over here in the forearm, so the wrist can't rotate. Kind of like the Marvel Legends Showdown version, actually, which is kind of weird. Single joint here at the elbow. We have a rotating bicep, a normal arm joint, or shoulder joint, if you will. Head goes a full 360 around, but it looks funky from behind. Also goes up a little bit, goes down a bit, but not as much as the much smaller figure that I seriously think he resembles. We have upper torso articulation here, but it doesn't actually do anything. I mean, it'll go a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, not forward or back at all. And then we have a full 360 here at the waist. I'm actually not even sure why they'd have articulation up there, though, if it doesn't do anything. Leg is pretty standard. It's just a regular ball joint. And then we have a extra point of rotation here at the calf. Double jointed knee. Nothing special. And no rotation down here at the foot. Or, actually at the calf for whatever reason. But, still goes forward, back as usual. And the toes have a pin joint as well. All in all, I mean, the articulation isn't really spectacular. And, if you're looking for just a version of the Thing, there are much better alternatives out there, just because this is more of a niche figure, because it's a earlier interpretation, whereas there are lots of other later interpretations available, even within the Marvel Legends line, I believe. I know that Wave 2 had a kind of ugly version of him. Then there's a House of M box set that had although that wasn't like a true interpretation of him either, that was another alternate, but you still had a 2-pack with Reed Richards and the Thing that Hasbro put out some years later, and that was a pretty good rendition. In addition to the Fantastic Four spin-offs, which the figure line had I guess some really equivalent ones. And even like the movie edition, I've heard is pretty decent. Personally, though, I was just really interested in picking this figure up, and I don't even really know why. Will I probably display him with my other Fantastic Four figures? I don't know yet. I mean, so far it's not like I really have a ton of the Fantastic Four either. Which is kind of a funny thing to say, considering there are only 4 prime members of it, but I only have one version of the Human Torch right now, and it's from the Ares series, which I don't care for too much. Then I have this version of the Thing, and I'd pick up that 2-pack if I could find it in stores. I saw it at one point, but kind of passed on it, and I kind of regret it at this point. Plus, I mean, I also figure I'll probably assemble the team in the 3 3/4 scale, because I already have that really cool Marvel Legends Showdowns one. Then Reed Richards is coming packed with Ultron in the Secret Wars Wave 3. Then I believe Thing is coming packed with Doom. I could be wrong about that. I think maybe it was actually one of the Wrecking Crew for Secret Wars Wave 4, so... Yeah, I guess it's just a kind of curio item if you're into collecting the first appearance figures, which I guess is kind of cool. Until next time, folks.